Alright, so we're trying this again, this time with me hopefully playing my main role solo. So I've accepted a queue already this time. It's character selected in screen. You can see that I did get solo, it's my role. You can trade with people. You can ask to trade by just clicking. That guy's wanting to trade with me, which not happening. I'm not playing carry. So solo, generally, I'm playing a warrior. I'm going to play one of my main warriors just because I know how to play her and we'll hopefully be able to play her on autopilot while I explain the game. So just to go over that quickly on how do you select people quickly, this is how I always do it. I click this filter tab. If I'm in the jungle, I'm playing an assassin. If I'm support, I'm generally playing a guardian. If I'm an ADC, I play a hunter. This, again, is just filtering them out. So because I'm solo, I filter out to warriors and I grab the one that I want to play. This jungle is playing Erling Shen, and he's decent in the jungle too. So you can play any of these in any of the roles, but there are just ones that are typically played in certain roles. Typically, mid is going to play a mage. Now he's playing Outwash, which is relatively meh mage, but regardless. Support typically also is going to play a guardian, not play a warrior, but that's what he chose. So because he did that, we actually don't have very much magical damage. But we'll deal with it. So I can already tell here I'm playing Mulan because she's the other warrior. I mean, there's possibility that I would play like Cleona because you don't have to play any particular god in a certain area, a certain role. You just typically play them because they're meta. So at the start here, the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to buy items. Typically, I buy a starter item. Most roles have like some meta starter items, meta meaning like most players buy them. So I'll be buying what's called Warrior's Axe, which is the meta item for solo lane right now. It's got power on it, which helps for damage. Power is damage. It's got health, or at least it used to, so maybe it doesn't now. Yeah, you can see the stats there. It's got protection, power, and then when I damage gods, I steal health from them essentially. I hit them. I'm filtering through items here. This is the other item that I typically build first on a warrior in solo lane. Blackthorn Hammer. It's called a bridge item because it's cheap, provides cooldown, provides health, provides power. And then I'm going to buy pots. This is kind of the meta start. A lot of pro players are using this. There's plenty of other starts, but this is what typically 3 health pots, 1 multi-potion pot, which heals health and mana at the same time. You can also tick those 2 pots together so they can be ticking at the same time, whereas you couldn't tick 2 health pots. I don't want to go through too much in depth here. I also see I purchased a relic. Typically I pick Blink as my relic in solo lane. Blink allows you to teleport quickly. You can see here I pressed F, which is my key for relic, and allows me to teleport a short distance. And the reason this is important for my role is that my role, my job is to get to the back line and to do a bunch of, which is their like power damage characters, and just disrupt them, make their lives difficult, so do damage to them however I can do it. That's my job. So now I'm in the laning phase. It's the beginning of the match. My job is sort of just to apply pressure to the lane, including this guy. So you can see I just popped 2 pots. That guy doesn't want to take that kind of damage, but he did. It's actually a tough match. He doesn't want to do this. He just walked back into lane, which lets me attack him and the lane at the same time. He doesn't want to do that. So I pushed my minions into tower, which is what I want to do as solo laner to start. Now I'm going to hit the totem of Q, and this totem gives the whole team gold. It also gives them mana regen, so that's huge. So now he has little health, and I have a lot of health, so I'm pushing him to the back of this wave. This is clearly his strategy, was try to get me to damage him. Now if I damage him, the minions will attack me instead of my minions, which at the beginning of the game, that can be painful. So I'm going to place a ward over here by pressing G. And G is just something you can see on the bottom of my screen. That's just where my, it's actually my second relic, but you start the game, you start with like a basic word, and it's a shard of something right here, vision shard. And that just allows me to place a ward at the beginning of the game without buying a ward. And words are very important because they give you vision on the map. You can see where I placed it. I'm going to clear this wave very quickly using my 1. And 1 is my ability. I have 4 of them. On Nike, the 1 is kind of the best first ability to buy. So now I clear the Totem of Q, which I try to clear whenever I can, because it benefits my entire team. Now my jungle's coming this way, and we're going to kill this blue buff together. It's kind of his job to try to help me out on this blue buff whenever he can. And I want to touch this blue buff, meaning I want to attack it in some way whenever I can, because the blue buff has just insane amount of gold and experience associated with it. So if you miss a blue, it's not the end of the world if your jungle just takes it for you, but you want to try to hit it. So this guy, he's backed, so he's got an item. Backing meaning he pressed B, and he started building items, and I haven't backed yet. So I do not have an item. He's got an item up on me, and that just means like he's got a lot of power. We can see here he built right into the beginning of a very common item, mystical mail. This is a tank item. So I backed now, pressing B. Now I should have probably waited to get a health chalice, the consumable. I'm blinking back to lane because the early game I don't necessarily need a blink, but I do need to get my minions. You can see I just go right up here, right up solo lane, right back to my lane after I back. I bought a full item, which is important. You know, trying to get as many items as possible. You saw me in the item store. This is the item I already knew I was going to buy. I don't do auto build items because my item purchase priority, when I might purchase an item, what item I purchase, it's going to change based on the game and who I'm against. I'm just not necessarily going to buy the same item every game and at the same time, so I just purchase them myself. You can look up builds, by the way. There's a lot of sources. I just look at like what pros have built in the last few matches, and that's, you just Google SMITE esports, you can find that. So my ultimate is down. I wish it were up because probably would try to go on him. But this guy's low on health, and that means, you know, he's trying to stay way the fudge back here instead of try to attack me. So a lot of times when I'm fighting the wave of minions, I'm going to try to keep my back to the outside of the map because then I can see any ganks from their jungle coming. I don't want to. I want to know if there's another character coming from the jungle, and generally they're going to come from like right in front of me, right over there. So he's backing again because I put a ton of pressure on him. Yeah, I'm going to back. So I never even use these pots, which is unfortunate, but I'm just going to sell them. So I'm back, sell them, buy a health chalice, buy the next item. I'm going to sell this to him. Buy 2 wards. So wards are the thing that when you place them, you get vision on the map. I talked about it already. I placed one right here. Now, I typically in solo, I place one here, I place one here. And this is the ward right here. See, it's up for 3 minutes. I typically, I almost always have wards up because if you don't have wards up, you can get ganked, and you don't want that to happen because getting killed is how you fall behind in lane, and ultimately you can fall behind in the game. So he's going over the totem, which is a mistake because I'm going to push his entire wave. He notices this. I have my leaps, so I'm not really concerned that he's got me kind of lower on health. That's his pull to try to so their jungle, our jungle, they're both here. I'm killing this totem again. Yeah, so their entire team is over here, which is insane. So yeah, full team fight this early in my lane is insane, unheard of. But clearly these guys want to gank my lane. That guy was trying to leap on me and he missed by a mile. So that was a horror cell. Our support just ulted in. Yes, this is kind of an insane game. People don't usually rotate this early. It's still kind of early game. It's 10 minutes into the game, and there's, everyone is in these lanes. It's just insane. That guy's stupid. Decided to come into my tower line and try to fight me in my tower line. Did not work out for him. So I'm buying my tier 2 item. I'm healing because when I'm back and I'm in the fountain, I heal health and mana very quickly. That was a good fight for us. I mean, I'm 1-0-3. And I'm checking here to see what he's building. He's going cooldown quickly, which I don't disagree with that strategy, but it makes him very tanky too. It's going an item that has a shield and has even more physical protections. And I don't have what's called penetration because I'm a tank. So it's not my job to deal much damage. It's my job to take a bunch of damage, just like it's his job. So he feels pretty confident, I guess, to fight me. Not sure why exactly, but he does. My ult is down. He does have Mystical Mail, which is the physical item he went first. And Mystical Mail is just it's an item that ticks magical damage and whatever, I'm getting into the weeds. Yep. So I'm leaping out of his abilities. I'm kind of anticipating when he's going to try to use them against me. He just took a ton of poke for that. He just runs for it. I still have my ult, which gives me a big giant shield. So I just left over his pole. If I had any abilities up, this guy would be dead as shit. But I do not. My Janus just came for mid. He has an ultimate that allows him to come all the way through the map. So you can see again, I'm prioritizing the Totemaku. I'm killing the minions in my lane because I'm trying to push my lane into this tower in front of me. There's 6 towers on each side. These have been killed. So I'm building into my next relic, which is Thorns. Thorns for solo is a great relic because it reflects damage on my opponents. You can see this guy's now kind of doing my blue on cooldown whenever he's over there. He doesn't need to wait for me this late in the game. I mean, if he can, great, but he doesn't need to. I've got 2 guys in my lane, which is a lot. I'm usually supposed to only have 1, but that's the support, and he can roam around. Yeah, everyone can roam around, but it's typical for him to roam around. They're probably going to gank me here, because they don't just run forever. I'm going to call enemy missing using VGS commands. You can see the VGS commands on the left side of my screen, the text chats. Very helpful to memorize those. So my guy rotated into the Gold Fury, which is on the other side of the map. It's right here. I probably should have rotated faster too, anticipating that they were going to go for Gold Fury. I'm going to push this mid lane because that just adds pressure on the map. We are deep in their territory here, particularly for this time in the game. So I ulted on their ADC because I thought my team would follow me, and they did. Oh, I got killed by the tower. So when you're under tower and you do damage to the team, and they surrendered, so you don't even get to see the end of the game. But I pressed they pressed F6, and if they all vote, or a majority of them vote, then that's the end of the game. So I probably didn't cover everything because that was not a very long match because we stomped them. Commending my team for teamwork, which I always do, unless they're a-holes. This is the end game screen. You can see here, kind of scoreboard shows what kill death, gold, items built. I mean, we just had some dudes pop off. Did super well. Details tab will show you just more detail on how much damage you did, how much damage these guys did. Shows you how much you took and how much you mitigated, which matters for tanks when you build protections. That's what you're building them for, wards placed. This is a short video, so hopefully this is helpful.